Hmm.
So Nathan, did you saw that?
Who?
Nathan Rabinovich.
Любовь.
Rabinovich. Take a look. It's beautiful.
Okay.
He has also all the Rabbeim of Chabad. It's the end.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow.
Who's tuning in?
Mr. Teitelbaum, Shkoyach for joining us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was it Yossi?
Hello, Yossi.
Yeah.
Here, take one.
Yossi, how
For
are
Yossi,
you?
it's for Yossi.
Yeah.
Well, he's mute.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol ni b'dvorei.
Amen.
There's a beautiful Gemara at the end of, there's an unbelievable the Gemara at the end of Kiddushin. Unbelievable Gemara at the end of the Kiddushin. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure Mr. Teitelbaum, you remember, there was an old man in Williamsburg, Rabbi Yom Tov Erlich. He used to make terrific songs.
Yom Tov Erlich.
Or Yom Tov Erlich, yeah.
Yeah, he played at my wedding.
Oh yeah, he played at your wedding?
Yeah.
Very
I
nice.
remember him, Takan. I remember that guy. Yes, yeah.
He was a very Erlich Yid. He was a terrific guy. I remember as a child, I like listening to the song, which is a Gemara at the end of the Kiddushin. It really piqued my attention. As a child, you can imagine things. The Gemara says, and the Mishnah, and then in the Gemara. Rav Shimon Elazar Omer. Rav Shimon Elazar says, did you ever see Chayav Oif Sheyesh Lam Umnus? Did you ever see an animal that has to pay a mortgage? It has to pay a credit card bill. When they go to work, they punch in, they punch out. They deal with vendors. They pay bills. They have parnasa without any tzar. Why were they created? To serve me. Shouldn't it be that I should have easy? The Rebbe Reb Tzvi, the Rebbe Rebbe, the Rebbe Reb Leib, they don't have to pay a mortgage. Why do I have to pay a mortgage? Who's more important, me or the Rebbe Rebbe or the Rebbe Reb Leib? How come the Rebbe Reb Leib, he doesn't have to worry about mortgages?
They have to hunt and it's hard for them to do the hunting.
You say that, but the Shimon Elazar says it's easy. I don't know. It's only because my things were a little crooked, and therefore my parnasa got a little crooked. But if I straighten out, I could have an easy life just like these animals. The Gemara says,
In these days, you have a lot of animals that they're trained to be in the circus, to be for dog
Very
for
good.
the army.
You're asking a good question. We'll talk about this in a second. Asking a good question. Well, we see that there are animals that are trained.
They don't get paid, so they get good food.
Yeah. So if they didn't perform, they wouldn't be getting food. So they are paying their bills. They're working and they're paying their bills. They're working, and that's why they have a place to sleep, and that's why they have medical attention, they have medical insurance, and they have benefits, because they're working. So the answer is that the Rebbe says that's why you find that the Gemara and the Gemara over here doesn't say behema chayav oif. The Tosefta says behema chayav oif. Why behema chayav oif? As an example, especially from all three major animals, behema chayav oif. So why does the Bavli and the Yerushalmi doesn't say it like the Tosefta? Because most animals, taka, behemoths, they earn their keep. They work. The shor la'oil, the chamer lamasa, they all work hard. They don't just sleep in the barn and eat. The cow works, and the chicken lays eggs, and the goat, and the sheep, and the cow, and the donkey, and the horse. They're all working.
Sheep work.
Yeah, the tzemer, they use the tzemer.
Somebody does that to them, but they don't have to work.
Right. They work a little less.
They go walk around.
Right. The
They
goats
do
and the
that.
sheep work a little less taka than and the goats and the goats give off milk. Right. So they milk them, so and then they use them for their meat. So they raise them and taka give them to eat, but then they kill them and they eat them. Okay. So therefore, even though there are taka, a few so the shit of the Tosefta is so the Tosefta does bring it. The Tosefta does bring an example from that. You could say that because B'teva, the behemoths wouldn't want to be b'nei tarbus. The people went and they tamed these animals and made them b'nei tarbus. But the way they were born, if you ask the cows if they want to go work, or if you ask the horses if they want to go horse racing, if you ask them achatchila before the people went and made them b'nei tarbus, they didn't line up and sign up for it. And the people did it. So
in general, they say that the difference between a chaya and the behemoth is that behemoth, like the teva is that they're domesticated.
Right. And the Gemara Taka, that's why you see that they're b'nei tarbus.
Okay. So cows and sheep and things like that. But you don't have to train them. By nature, they're trained.
They're b'nei tarbus, right?
Yeah.
The other ones, even if you train them, it's like
no. On the contrary, like the other ones, you can train them. You can take them but the teva is to be wild.
right,
But you can train them.
right. But Tzataka, that's why in the Bible and Yerushalmi they only bring an example of Chayavoy. Okay, let's read the Gemara in the Bavli and the Yerushalmi at the end of the Meseches Kiddushin.
The original cow wasn't raised in a barn.
Right. So that's what the Rebbe is saying. Elamai, the people made them and they parted. Taka, the Gemara says that animals, even if you put in all the koiches in the world, b'derech klal, you can't make them b'nei tarbus. And we see Taka that people, even today, and Ada Etzema Yom Hazeh, there are people in the past 20 years or 30 years, how many stories? There was a famous guy, he thought he's a Chamoidic friend with the lion, with the Rebbe Arya, and in front of everyone in Las Vegas,
Siegfried and Roy.
right, and then there was a famous guy, someone in South Africa, he thought as a hippopotamus,
Okay.
him and the hippo were mamish best friends, and
They're even worse than the lion. The hippopotamus. There's more deaths from hippopotamus.
right,
than
and our people
lion.
still think that they'll make them up in the tarbus.
Oh no.
But they think there's this famous woman that thought that she's gonna raise a monkey like a child,
No.
and the monkey the good right. So that okay. So that's why the Rebbe says okay. Anyway, but so that's why there is a svara to say that you could even say behemoth, because behemoth naturally are not running to sign up for jobs, but l'idach there is a svara to take out behemoth because lapel that's you could tame them, and mashenking chayis and oifes, but that you can't. And again, there's a yotzim and a klal in the chayis. It's a yotzim and a klal behemoth, but the melech shebehemoth is the shoyed, and he's been signed up long ago for a job, and the melech of the chayis is the arya, and he never signed up for any jobs. Okay, so let's read the Gemara in Bavli. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer. Miyom Eloida Yisi Tzvi Kayitz Ari Sabel B'Shul of Chemveni. In my lifetime, he said, I have never seen a deer that he signed up to be a kayitz. A kayitz is 2 points. That the kayitz is the person that works in a field that produces ta'enim, figs. And what he does is, number one, he takes the figs at the field, has a lot of branches. So the figs, you like to have dried figs. It's very hard, even today, with all refrigeration in the world, it's very hard to bring figs around the world, fresh figs. Adayom, the figs b'deraklal are dried up under the sun. And then they're packed up and they're sent around the world. So the kayitz is the person that takes the figs and puts them out under the sun, because you can't dry. Here there's the trees, and here you have to find a space that's under the sun. And then if it's under the sun, So now Ganovim, Chayas, Behemoths come eat it up. So someone has to stand there, has to sit in a little booth and guard for however long it takes, a week or two, until it grows. That's the job of a Kayetz.
Why do they call it kites?
Kites-
Is the sun.
First of all, probably Chelek, and even if it's summer, that's
The
taka when the
Chelek.
sun shines. So both are true. He collects it and then he puts it out in the kites in the summer. Ari Sabo, that you never found that a lion,
Like a
I mean,
donkey.
that he should schlep big packages, that he should schlep big packages. And shul, we never found that should be a shul, a fact, which should be a chemveni. In other words, even though these guys are pretty good for these jobs, these three guys are pretty good for these jobs. Why? Because at Tzvi, the Chazal say he never sleeps. One eye is always open. So he'd be a great guard. He could sit in the booth 24/7, and everyone thinks he sleeps, but he's not really sleeping. He's always halfway. He's always like halfway looking up. So he's a great guard. He could sit there for 24/7. Mashenkin Dari, he falls asleep and he starts to snore, and the other animals they sleep. But the tzvi would be a great kayetz. The Ari would be a great sabo, because once you pack up the ta'anim, the big barrels, they're very heavy. They're very heavy, and the Ari has an unbelievable gevuda. The Ari could carry. I can say that there's other animals. There's appeal. There is the Gemara mentions a lot about elephants. We learned in the Gemara about elephants. It's special bracha when you see elephants. We're coming from Hanukkah story. We know in the Hanukkah story elephants were used a lot. So again, first of all, so they're more domesticated. Fakert, pilim today are back to, but in those countries in those days, so they used elephants like horses. Just like in later generations, they used horses, adayim, very strongly. They used to use elephants. So fakert. So a person owns 3-4 elephants, and he feeds them, and he has a place for. Again, weiter. So they're not. So they're already b'nei tarbus. And the Rebbe says this funny thing. There's these animals called ox picker that they hang around the elephants, and they eat up the lice and the shrotzim and the zvuvim around. The elephant is very finicky. He doesn't like, not like other animals that are dirty. They could have flies all over them and this. The elephant gets very, if a fly or this or that comes around, it bothers the elephant a lot. So, mice bother him a lot. Everything the elephant doesn't like him. He's chamensh, the elephant. He likes to be clean, and he doesn't like when it's too hot. He likes an air conditioning. So the axe picker goes around and eats up all these shrotzim and balechayis. So it's good for everyone. It's good for the animal. It's good for the elephant. It's still, we don't put not the elephant and not the ox picker in the list, for several reasons. Number one, like we said, the elephant himself, so you can't say he doesn't have omnus. He schleps, that's his omnus. That is his omnus. And the other and the axe picker, again, it's a good deal between the two of them. So the best example for the three animals that the Gemara found is these three things. Why? A tzvi is very naturally, if a tzvi needed a job, he'd be great to be a guard, because his eye is open 24/7. And if you need someone, a gibur, shemshin a gibur, Adi is very good, he's a gibur. And a chemvi, you need someone sly. You need someone cunning, wheeling and dealing and wheeling and dealing. And the Gemara says that the shul is the pikach. That's what the Gemara says, the Fedish story, the Bakiva, that in several places in Madrashim, that the shul is very wise. So he is tzugepas. So if theoretically you needed animals to sign up, the tzvi would be a good kayetz, and the ari would be a good sabel, and the shul would be a good chemveni. But the poil, they don't bother knowing them. They never sign up. Why? Because they're mispar in the shaloi b'tzar. Okay, let's read the Yerushalmi. It's just like it's a funny Gemara. It's a very funny Gemara. And like I said, as a child, there was some song from Rabbi Yom Tov Erlich. And in my mind, as a child, I used to see, like the shul. He has a song in this. I don't remember the tune, but I just remember he had a song in it. And like in my mind, I was seeing the shul standing in front of the store, and the Ari schlepping these big baskets of ta'enim. All three could be doing the same thing. The tzvi dries them in the field, and then packs them up in big chaviyos. Then the Rebbe Lebleib comes and puts it in his back and runs and distributes it here and there. And then the shul, the pikach, he stands at the chanus and he wheels and he deals and he sells the ta'enim to retail to people. Okay.
Rabbi, the tzvi is Naftali Ayala Shlucha, is the Ayala? That's the same thing or it's different?
Ayala is not a tzvi. Ayala is a tzvi? No.
Family, it's in the family, but it's not the same.
No. We see the tafka that
So people think that a tzvi is a deer. It's not. A tzvi is a gazelle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and ayala might be something else in that family. But there's a book about it. It's called Sameach Barachai B'Mikra, and there's also by the same author had Sameach Barachai B'Chazal.
And he thinks that really the tzvi, that the tzvi is the gazelle, not what we think. Interesting. Okay. So. So that's what we're talking about. I'm talking about it. This is two things. I'm talking about it because this is connected to Parshas Vayechi. It happens to be a siyum that Rebbe once made on Meseches Kiddushin. It was then every year that Rebbe used to pick. The Rebbe used to make siyumim on Shas, on different Meseches and Shas. Yutas Kislev, Yud Shvat, Vav Tishrei, Chof Ov. So that year he picked. It was Kiddushin. It was very, very. This is like 6 pages, but the Rebbe spoke about it for hours and hours. It was just interesting. Like it's very, very interesting. And the Rebbe said that someone's going to say the Agadat and the Gemara is not Negei La'alocha. The Rebbe said, how could you say that? Right? And he said, and we say the Shulchan Aruch itself starts with Yehuda ben Tema Oimer, you might think, it's Meseches Avos, which is called, it's the Masechta that talks about Midas Toivis, which is Miltza de Chasibusa. Not so Negei La'alocha, but
it's telling you to do something. That's halacha. But Haggadah, and Haggadah just like doesn't tell you what to do. It's just like explaining something.
But here the Rebbe is going to try to show how this is Haggadah. But the truth is, the Gemara itself is saying you should learn a lesson from this. You should learn a lesson. So that's right. So what's the lesson? So let's learn first the Yerushalmi. Yishalmi says that did you ever see Ari Sabel, Ari Kayetz? That's one girsa in Yishalmi. The other girsa, which is a little bit of a more difficult. Later they found all the kisfayat from the Yishalmi that instead of having Ari Sabel, Ari Kayetz, they just have it flipped. They have it Ari Sabel and Tzvi. And Tzvi Kayetz. Shul Chemveni, Zeiv Moiche Kedeiris. So these 4 things. These 4 animals, they live. They don't have to worry about buying apartments, selling apartments. They don't have to worry about paying bills, water, gas, electric. Nothing. Why were these animals created? L'shem sheni, to serve me. But these guys have such a good life. That's what the Yishalmi. So the Yishalmi and the Babli are really saying the same thing almost. The fact that it's a little different than the Mishnahs understand, because the Mishnah says everything b'kitzer, and the Gemara says everything b'arichas. And Reb Shimon ben Elazar himself might have said over the same memra several times, and once he said it b'kitzer and once more b'arichas. The fact that it's different in the Babli Yishalmi, Could be that the Talmidim of Rishon Blaza moved to Bavel and some lived in Eretz Yisrael, and one Talmud that lived in Eretz Yisrael said it over in this way, and the other one said it over that way. The general thing, the general gist is the same. It's just that there are differences. First of all, the Bavli gives 3 examples, and Yishalmi gives 4 examples. If the Gemara gave only 1 example, then say, just 1 example. The Mishnah just says animals don't have to work for a living. But when the Gemara gives you 3 examples, that why dafka 3? So obviously there's something special that in these 3 examples. So why did the Yishalmi add 1? And also the Yishalmi flipped it. The Yishalmi, according to this girsa, that Rebbe went through every girsa and explained, but let's just today do this girsa, that he flipped it. Ari Savo and Tzvi Kayas. Why did he flip it? L'chayda, the truth is the Bavli makes sense. First, the Tainim fall off the tree. So Mr. Kayetz goes and brings it out under the sun, and he guards it. He stands there for 2 weeks and then he packs it up in big chavias. Then comes Reb Aryeh, loads them up, distributes it, and then comes Mr. Fox, and Mr. Fox sells it. So the Bavli really makes a lot of sense.
That's unity.
Right? Yeah, they work together. So L'Moshe Mashiach. So, but the Yishalmi flips it. So why? And why did add 1 more? Okay, that's the basic shaila.
Why is he Mota Mashiach? The guys they have in Kevin.
Right, they're working together. Yeah, they're working together. Okay.
In England, they have in the zoo, they have a sign. Mota Mashiach, the guys they have kevis. You come with her, you see a line and you see a kevis. That's the guy. I come every day. We put in a kevis.
Okay, so let's go into the Sicha. When we finish the Hadran, the Rebbe brings it into this week's Parsha. And tie it into beautiful machloikis. There's a machloikis between the Targum Yonasan Ben Uziel and the Targum of Onkelos. We're talking about people that have umnus, that are schlepping, and they have a job, and they're working hard for a living. Where they're working hard for a living. So in the parsha we have a machloikis. What's the machloikis? The Onkelos says that he had the schus that the Beis Hamikdash was in his part. The shaila is which part of the Beis Hamikdash was in his part. In the Onkelos it says Binyamin ba'aret tisha shchinte u'b'chasanta yivne migdusha. The Beis Hamikdash. And Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel says Binyamin. He says Tishre Shchinte More Almud Ubechasanta even to say Beis Mikdasha. Added 1 word, Beis Mikdasha, and the Rogatchover says it's a huge difference. There's a machloikis. Which part of the Beis Hamikdash belonged to Binyamin? Because it's like very interesting geography. Most of Yerushalayim really belonged to Yehuda. The place of the Beis Hamikdash belonged to Binyamin. So according to so the shaila is according to Yonasan, the whole Beis Hamikdash belonged to Binyamin, and he said according to Onkelos, no, only the Mokim HaKorbanos, which is the Mizbeach. Only the Mizbeach belonged to Binyamin. So what's Taka the Svaras HaMachloikis, and what is it Negea? What's Negea Lamaisa? Maybe it's even Negea. It's Mr. Ben Gvir going up to the Harabayas. We'll talk about it in a few minutes.
He did beautiful things.
You know what his purpose. His purpose, according to his Shita, is to show that if you talk about equal rights for everyone, don't dishonor the Jews. Have the same right for everyone.
I hope he'll be Matzliach. This guy
he wasn't trying to say, oh, he wanted to show equal rights for everyone.
Okay.
Soon
we'll get into Mr. Ben Gvir. We'll get in there.
I got letter from the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim, Amud. All done according to Halacha. Don't do it again because it's problems.
Okay.
That's a very heavy letter.
Okay, so let's talk now the Rebbe's husband. So the Rebbe says like this: we see that there's like a double lashon in the Bible and the Yerushalmi. It says Miyom Elorisa, I never saw a kayitz, tzvi kayitz, Adi Sabel, Shul, Chemveni, Vehem is Parshas Lebetzar, Vehem lo nivre elu Shamsheni, Vanin nivreis l'sham sheskoini. What's the gay? Vanin nivreis l'sham sheskoini. Vehem lo nivre l'shemsheni. Ma elu shul nivre elu Shamsheni is Parshas Lebetzar. Sheskoini, what's the gay? Vanin l'sham sheskoini. But he said it later in the Kal Vachomer. The Rebbe says no, because the Rebbe, he wants to emphasize should the heim lo nivre elu l'shamsheni in order for me to do l'shamish eskoini. Not stam they have to be mishamish me. They were, the whole world was made to help a Jew do his avodas Hashem. The whole world was made in order to help a Jew do his avodas Hashem. So the goyim are here, and there's a beautiful Rambam that the Rambam has in the Zakdama Pirish Mishnayos. He says, "Kol nimtzaim shetachas galgal hayereach nimtza b'shvil adam lavadei." Everything the Eibishter created for the human being to be able to do his avodas Hashem. Kol mina machayes. It's for the person l'toyelas. Achamor losalov mashuluch loylach b'yoda asusim lagia. Mahalach rochik, and then the Rambam goes into the whole thing that there's a Isha Sholem, that the whole world is really for him. It's just that if the Isha Sholem is going to become, you're going to put him in the middle of the Sahara Desert, what was he going to do? And it's very lonely to be alone. So the Eibishter made a whole world, and it's busy, and people are coming and going. It's only for this one Isha Sholem that, and it's a mashal. Who's the Isha Sholem? Is Bnei Yisrael, the Yidden. That he says that there's he gives a whole example. We spoke about this one, that there's a Meshuggah and he builds a big building, and then he lives for a year and two, he dies. He spent his whole life building a big palace. And then, but there's a hot day, and there came a Chochem Gadol, and he wants to think, and he stands on the side of the palace, and he gets a shade, and he says, I can think now. That's why the Eibishter made this Meshuggah and all his workers. And so this guy could stand there, and so the Yidden are the tachlis of everything. So the Goyim, which are Meshulam L'chayis and the Chayis Kipshutoi, are all here to serve us, so we could do our avodas Hashem. So there's three basic steps that are as a chona to make this world for us in order to be able to do the mitzvahs. There's three basic steps. Lamashal, if you have sirogim, they're in Italy, they're in Israel. They have to be cut, they have to be shipped, they have to come. Someone has to sell it. Every mitzvah that we do, and sometimes there's a mitzvah that you can't even go to get the mitzvah from where it is. So there's three basic steps in the mitzvah. There is just like when you have ta'anim. So someone has to collect. They fall one at a time. Someone has to collect them and go bring it out, and then the sun could shine on it. And then that's one step. And then there's another step that has to be packed up and distributed. And then there's another step that has to be sometimes to be meshana reshus l'reshus. So for example, the Gemara says a person's never allowed to go into the house of Avodah Zarah. A person's never allowed to go into a place of Zionist. What's if there's an esrik there, there's a lulav there? There's sometimes netzutzis kedusha in things in the world that need to be brought to me, but I can't go there. I'm not supposed to go there. So the Eibishter made that there should be a lot of goyim in this world, and there should be a lot of animals. There should be a whole world, and these three are basic steps in getting the mitzvahs into my hand, that I should be able to make the mitzvah with this. So there is the number one, which is tzvi kayitz. Number two, sabel. Sabel is take it from one ishus to another ishus. And then there's even more sometimes, which is a chemveni, which a chemveni is, he didn't make something new, but he sold a product. It went from one ishus to another ishus. So sometimes you need step one, sometimes you need two, and sometimes you need all three. In general, the Gemara at the end of Kiddushin says that the Ovis paved the way to do the mitzvahs. Chassidus says that why the Eibishter didn't stop want to torture the Yidden v'Mitzrayim. The whole thing was to purify the Yidden, to get them ready to Matan Torah, to get the world ready for Matan Torah. So that's why in this week's Parsha, all the Shvatim are compared to animals, just like animals are there to serve the Bnei Adam. The Ovis and the Shvatim were there to prepare for Matan Torah, and that's why Kimu Ovis Kol HaTorah Kula Achlan Nitna. So these are three basic steps that there is. These are three basic steps in Avodas Hashem. that to get the world ready, to get the mitzvahs into my hand, these are 3 basic steps. Okay. Now that we know that these are 3 basic steps, so now there's a machloikis between Bavli and Yerushalmi, and in many issues that a lot of times we see that the Bavli likes to look at the here and the now, and Yerushalmi likes to look at the consequences later. And then there's a byproduct to this that we spoke about this once, that there's a shaila in halacha. If you have a choice to do a mitzvah right now, zrizah magdim mitzvahs, or you could do it a few hours later or a few days later, and would do it with much more hidur. What's better to do? To do the mitzvahs, zrizah magdim mitzvahs right now. For example, I woke up in the morning on Sukkot and I have a little of an esek, but it's not the greatest. I know if I wait an hour or two, I'll come to shul, and there's someone there that has a beautiful lulav and esek. So should I make the bracha now and shake my own lulav and esek? Should I wait 2 hours to do it? It is nice to do b'roivam hadas melech. So, but in America in the morning, people are running to work. I could, if it's in the summer, I could wait till people come home to work. I could make 5 o'clock. I can make a bris. We can make a barbecue. We can make a flesh and suda. People sit down, listen to Divrei Torah. So what's better to do?
People do it.
Yeah. So there's a mashayla. Zrizah magdim ala mitzvahs, or you should do it later with more hidur. And the Rebbe brings rayis, and we'll do it for another time, that the Bavli is more noit to the shit of Zrizah magdim ala mitzvahs, and the Yerushalmi is more noit to wait later and to do it with much more of a hidur, So the Rebbe says that's why we find that the Gemara says that what happened Yom Kippur Shecholi is be'erev Shabbos. It was so now. Right, Motzei Yom Kippur is Shabbos, and there is meat that's left over that the Kohanim have to eat, and this is Kodesh, this is from the soyer, from the Musaf of Yom Kippur, that they're mechuyev to eat, and they're not allowed to cook it. So the Bavlim, the Gemara says it like with a little bit of a sneer. A Kippur not allowed to eat, so they eat it Motzei Yom Kippur. So usually Motzei Yom Kippur there would be tzoila. You're supposed to really Kohanim are supposed to eat it. So they're supposed to roast the meat and eat it with mustard.
But now it's falling Shabbos.
But now it's like Shabbos, and it's not avoidus Shabbos. So there was always this tension between the Kohanim that came from Bavel, the Bavlim, and the Yerushalmi. The Bavlim used to chap it right after. They would grab it, they would eat it raw. Shabbos, you can't cook it. And the Yerushalmim used to sneer at them. You guys are crazy. Eating raw meat. They used to chop it, eat it up right away raw. So the Rebbe says, you see over here a little bit this machloikis. What was the machloikis? The Bavlim said, the Yerushalmim said, come on, if you wait to Matzah Shabbos, you could roast it, and then you can eat it l'mashcha l'gdula. You can eat it like a mensch. It's not sushi. We're talking about raw meat. This is not.
People eat. By the way, they have
yeah,
but they do have also about the meat, raw meat. Yeah, I tasted it. It doesn't taste good.
I never tasted
No.
it. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, I tasted it. I didn't like it. I'm a Kohen. I can tell you it's not so fun.
So you got to know.
Yerushalmi.
I know. I
So
tasted it. I
you're
said
you're not Bavli.
it was not not for me. No. A friend of mine sitting next to me says he enjoys it.
He
I
liked
didn't like that. I
So
didn't like it.
the Gemara makes it. The Yerushalmim used to laugh at the Bavliim, and the Bavliim they didn't care. They didn't care.
But it also is a ballet bossa, but it also makes you to become a more it's
more like a
gas.
Yeah, it's more of a gas.
You can
Doesn't feel idle. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gemara Taka says that Yisham used to say that these guys they're like they're not idle people. And there are whole other things that Yishamim used to laugh at the Bavlim.
Animals you can go.
Right.
That's what we say.
So
We don't want to say it about Kayanim, but this is
the Poil Rebbe says that you could say that this goes into the Machloikis about the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi said, let's wait and we'll be tzoil and eat it nicely. And that a Kohen should eat it l'mashcha l'gdula. But the Bavlim said, no, Hakdish and Shayin Exizim, Magdim al Mitzvahs, the fast is over. Let's eat it raw and get ending. So this is the Machloikis also Lagabe, the question over here with the story that the Gemara and the Bavli Yerushalmi says on both points. The Gemara says, the Mishnah says in Peah that one of the trees that you don't give Peah is Te'enim. Why Te'enim? Because Te'enim, one Te'ena falls today, one tomorrow. It has to be Likkutei Ke'acher. Peah is a field that one day it's all ready. You cut it off, you leave a Peah. If it's not Likkutei Ke'acher, Sunday one, there's a pasuk that in the beginning of the kites you see one teina, another teina. Doesn't work for Peah. Peah has to be that they all fall in the one time, and therefore because teina falls Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's potem in a Peah. So now is the shaila. The Bavli says we have to be meichen to do a mitzvah. We want to bring it to the Eibishter. We want to get it ready to do a mitzvah. We want to eat it l'kavod Shabbos, l'kavod Yom Tov. We want to take the world and bring it to the Yid's table to do a mitzvah with it, right? So the first, if one falls off, take it, put it in the field, let it dry. Let's take one at a time. So then the tzvi is the one that collects it, and the tzvi collects it. He puts it out in the field, and he guards it for a week or two. And the Bible, he goes back and forth. So there's two tzvis, one is guarding, and then comes the lion, and he takes a big chavis or three chavias, and he puts on its back, and he runs, and he goes all around here, there, and he brings and delivers it to every grocery store. And over there's Mr. Fax, and Mr. Fax sells each bunch of te'enim to another Jewish family. So they can make brachas, and they could be Maila and Tutsa Kedusha, they eat l'kavod Shabbos, l'kavod Yom Tov, okay, whatever they're doing, whatever mitzvahs they're doing. Te'en is an example. It could be other things too, but we're giving an example of te'en. But that's the way the Bavli learns. But Yerushalmi learns, no, you have to a mitzvah behidur. So we want one te'ena. If you're going to bring a te'enim for the Eibishter, you have to have a whole chavis first. So now that you have the tzvi is shvach, he's a weakling. He can't schlep. So he can't schlep so many te'enim first. So therefore, in the Yishalmi, in the Girsa that we have, is Adi Sabal and then Tzvi Kayetz. That the Adi comes to the field and he says, Tzvi, what's going on? He says, I need to dry all these te'enim. I can't schlep. So the Adi says, move out of the way, I'll do it.
That's why we start with Ari.
Yeah, that's why we start with Adi. The Yerushalmi says you should wait to do the mitzvah behidur. So they wait till they have a lot of te'enim. But once they have a lot of te'enim, the Reb Tzvi can't carry it out to the place where the Shemos is. So he needs Reb Adi to come to Sabal. Okay, that's the difference in Girsa. Why is it that the Bavli doesn't talk about selling kedetis, and Yerushalmi talks about selling kedetis? Because the Gemara says there's a big difference how Adi eats and how a wolf eats. The wolf is also quite a hunter. The wolf is quite a hunter. The Zabe is quite a hunter. The kids get the Shabbos. It's unbelievable. They get so much information. These kids today. So last week, the week before, they had in the article in there, and that they for years they couldn't figure out Yosemite National Park, I think it was. They couldn't figure out, everything was going nish good until they figured out that 100 years ago they got rid of all the Zaev. So they have too many. No, the Zaev. So they have too many elks, and then when they have too many elks, and then comes a winter, and everything. The whole ecosystem is off, and this is actually happened in the 90s. And they brought from Canada. They brought a ton of Zaevim, 20, 25 by now, already a few hundred.
Yeah.
And from then on, the trees are growing, everything. Yeah. The lakes are Altsgate. It's like an unbelievable thing where David made the world, because there's not too many elk, but the stronger elks do run away. Everything got good. So, but there's he's quite a hunter. The Reb Zev is quite a hunter. The Wolf A wolf?
Isn't he represented by in Yemen?
Yes, this is why we're talking. The Beis
Okay,
Hamikdash. This is
okay.
where we're getting to.
Sorry.
So the wolf is good.
Yeah.
That the Gemara says there's still a difference. That the body, when he's doides v'oichel, he chaps the animal, he rips it.
Yeah.
The animal is alive, halfway alive. He's already halfway through his meal. But the wolf is not that way. The wolf is more menschlich.
He's gonna
He
wait till-
toidev. He schleps it back to his
Right.
den, and he eats it with the other friends, and over there they make a party in the den. He doesn't toidev. He's not doides v'oichel. The Adi, while the animal is still halfway alive, and but the wolf is a little mer gelassen. He kills it. He schleps it back to the den, and so therefore the Adi doesn't need really a pot, because what's he need a pot for? He's eating it what's halfway alive. But the Rebbe Ze'ev, Rebbe Wolf brings it back home. So for him, a shaykh, the Indian Nagam, it's like a joke. What's his name? It's conceptually a shaykh that he should, and the Yerushalmi is looking at them. Right, that's why he said Moicha Kederis. If a Ze'ev would get into business, so he would think about maybe selling Kederis, because the Ze'evim maybe would use Kederis. Lapel, they don't use Kederis. But Shaykh, that they should think, because they why not? You could, because when you cook it in a pot, so that magishmak. So that's the attitude of the Yerushalmi. The Bavli says, the Kohanim, who are the Bavlim, say, Hakmash and Chinik, we'll eat it up right away, Motzi and Kippur, raw meat. Don't tell me you're going to start roasting it, Motzah Shabbos, and eat it with mustard, Hakmash and Chinik. The Bavlim want to eat it up right away. But the Yerushalmim, they say, no, we'll put it in a K'deda. So that's why there's another step in Avodas Hashem that's added in the Yerushalmi, which is the mile of waiting a little bit and doing it right. We'll do it a little later, a few hours later, a day later, and we'll do it better, we'll do it right, we'll do it l'moshcha l'gdula, we'll cook it in the Kededa.
Is it shaykh to say, okay, certain things will go by the Bali and certain things will go by the...
Here we're talking Avodas Hashem, but l'maisa take.
Even in Avodas Hashem,
right.
some things you need to do right away, and some things you gotta wait.
Right. So the Rebbe says that's that. Now we understand what's the machloikis of the Targum Yonasan ben Uzziel and the Unkelus about the Beis Hamikdash. And there's an afkamina and halacha, the Rebbe says. We find the Oruch, whose edition says that the Targum Unkelus is considered the Bavli. Yonasan ben Uzziel, everyone agrees, is considered Yerushalmi. So it's really a classical machloikis of Bavli and Yerushalmi. So now, so the shaila is, one shitta says that the whole thing is bechelke shel ze'ev, and the other one says no, only the mizbeach is bechelke shel ze'ev. So the Yaakov said that the Mesa Mikdash, the Kiddushin, is going to be showed by Yidden through Binyamin, even though Yehuda is going to have the whole Yerushalayim and everything, he's going to be the Melech, but the Shechina is going to be showed through Chelke shel Binyamin. So the shaila is which Chelek? So the whole Beis Hamikdash is Chelke shel Binyamin, or just the Mizbeach? What's the
why not Kodesh HaKadoshim?
Because there is a certain mila. Because where does the Yid come close to the Eibishter? Where's the korban, the kiruv is through the Mizbeach.
So the Kodesh HaKadoshim doesn't count it as real.
I guess. Because the main avodah, the main action happened on the Mizbeach.
It's very close.
And not only that, the Kodesh HaKadoshim, you need a whole Beis Hamikdash. And Mizbeach, the Rambam says that you could theoretically make korbanos if the whole Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and you still have the Mizbeach. You could still do korbanos. You could still allow to do korbanos.
It's like a kli, it's not like a Beis Hamikdash. It's
Yeah,
and
then you can do the avodah. So the Rebbe says that's the machloikis. The Yerushalmi says, if you ask the Yerushalmi says better build a whole Beis Hamikdash, and it's all negayed because it's the Hidur mitzvah. It shouldn't just be a mizbeach. If you ask the Yerushalmi, if today you have a choice, you could build just a mizbeach, but you can't build a whole Beis Hamikdash. It's not shaykh. But you know the makam of mizbeach. Yerushalmi says no. Wait till Mashiach to come and send Ben Gvir back home and forget about it. That's why the Yerushalmi, which is Yonasan ben Uziel, says that the ganze Beis Hamikdash is given from Binyamin Bachasante Yizbene Beis Mikdasha, the whole Beis Hamikdash, because it stands to reason if you hold like the Yerushalmi. So, and if you're giving the schus that Ashros Ashchina is going to be in the land of Binyamin, and if you ask the Yerushalmi, they're going to say, you don't chap raw meat matzah Yom Kippur. You don't just build a mizbeach and start making a karbonis. You build a mizbeach and the whole Beis Hamikdash, and you do behidr mitzvah, and that's when you start. The din is that if there was just a mizbeach, you could make the karbonis, fine. But the point right now, if you're going to ask the Yerushalmi, should we just build the mizbeach and make a bar? No. You have to build a whole Beis Hamikdash, and Sen Ben Gvir has to go back home. In the Shtokim Platz fan. But Bavli says, which is the Targum of Onkelos, he says no. Just if you could just build the mizbeach, it's good enough. So that's what Onkelos holds. That when Yaakov gave him, they said Yehuda will have everything, but you're going to have the special schus of the karbonos. Meseches the whole Beis Hamikdash. It stands to reason if you could just build the Beis Hamikdash and you can't build everything, just the mizbeach, you should build just the mizbeach. So that's what he gave him, not any more, not any less. That's it. He gave it to him. So the machloikis of Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel and the Onkelos is al derech the machloikis of the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. Again, Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel was Yerushalmi. He says, if you're going to Mashiach, you don't go on the Harabais and just build the mizbeach. Theoretically, if you had the mizbeach, you could bring the korbanos. But if you're going to go build, don't just build the mizbeach and start right away breaking korbanos. Build the whole Beis Hamikdash the way it should be. Menschlich, B'hidur mitzvah. Aida Avoida will start a little later. Okay, but we want to do it right. Just like the Yerushalmi said, we're eating the raw meat. We'll wait till Matzah Shabbos. We'll roast it. We'll do it l'moshcha l'gdula. But
it's not an issue with probably in the Shalom, it's a Mishnah for Russia in 80 years.
Yeah, it is a Mishnah. That's the din. That and the Rambam says it ladina. No, but it's a theoretical question. If right now Ben Gvir had the upper hand, and we all established that this is the Makam HaMizbeach, so should we build the Mizbeach and right away start making true Makriven Karbonis Afal Pisha Ein Bias? That's when you built the Mizbeach. But L'chatchila, when we're doing construction, should we build the Mizbeach and right away start doing Karbonis Afal Pisha Ein Bias? Or should we build a whole bias and then no, because Makriven Afal Pisha Ein could be if they were machir of the walls. The halacha makriv af b'shein bayis bono doesn't mean that you're mechuyev to build the mizbeach first and then start making korbanos, even though the construction wasn't complete. It's halacha that makriv af b'shein bayis bono. That means if the mizbeach is there and they destroy the world, makriv.
You're allowed to do
so
it.
The shaila that Rebbe is asking is right now. If Ben Gvir goes up there and he says, "I know the Makkah mizbeach, I want to build the mizbeach, knock out the mosque and the Kmas Shvas, we want to."
Amazing. We don't have this. So.
The emes is it's a complicated.
It's a stop to a step.
It's
why is it a complicated thing? I mean, we have to be Torah in order to be.
No, we don't have to be Torah.
We need to know exactly wisdom.
We need to know exactly wisdom. Mizbeach. We need a few things that we need.
We need some Kabbalahs to make a decision on it. Huh?
So the Rebbe says that possibly you could say that even halacha there would be a
So why did Rebbe ask to leave Yerushalayim when they conquered the first time? What was the problem?
Because maybe you could bring the Korban Pesach. Maybe you could bring the Korban Pesach.
Even if you don't have a Beis you're allowed to.
Right, because Makriven Bayis have a bish.
So the obligation is the whole world is obligated to go to Aliyah, or only the people.
No, only the people that are b'mokim tesvav meal around Yerushalayim. They're not b'mokim roch. That's not b'mokim. Yeah.
So now,
if Ben Gvir has the upper hand, maybe we're going to have to walk out of Yerushalayim and have a Pesach. As of now, he came up once.
Now I can plan on going for Pesach.
If Ben Gvir really has the upper hand, maybe Daf Matrachten that Erev Pesach that you're not allowed to be in Yerushalayim because I spoke about it many times. We never got to the bottom of the sugya, but I told the story that that I heard from Rav Zoln Chalap, his father, that Michal told him that his father told him, Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Chalap, that he got a telegram from Chafetz Chaim asking him if he could organize. He was thinking come at Yisrael, and he was thinking he's getting a coin. He wants to come. It wasn't joking around. He was thinking that he's coming to Eretz Yisrael
And he's making Korban.
and he's going to do a Korban Pesach. And he sent him a telegram asking if he can go to the Turkish consulate, if he can get him permission to go out of Bayis. He had a lot of machshavas in his head. Lapoili never came to Eretz Yisrael. Could be he would have went through the sugya and he would have. Anyway, this is a Maisa Shahoya. He did send a telegram asking Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Chalap to see if the Ken Masada Zayin and Yonim da.
I read that there's some Baruch guy with like a lot of sheep. And he says,
I'm
He's getting ready.
yes, I am going to have what to sell. You already think about money.
Okay, Nachamal, one more time, Tzibachaz and the word. So this is a machloikis of Shechalmi and Bavli, the Unkelus, and the Rabbi Yonasim Ben Azil says, do a menschlich, build the whole base of Mikdash nice, then build the Mizbeach, then we're going to inaugurate the base of Mikdash and we'll make the Karbonas. So if he gets a bracha, it makes sense that Binyamin got the whole base of Mikdash. Mashen Kain, Unkelus, which goes in the halacha of the Bavli, no, we'll build the Mizbeach right away, start bringing Karbonas, we'll talk about contractors, if to get permission in Israel to build this. So you get permission and permits. No, they say it's much worse. Much worse.
Much
So
worse.
again,
But the Arabs don't ask questions.
The Arabs, they don't ask questions. They build it.
They do it.
But the Yidden.
Mashallah.
So therefore, Uncle said, nah, the attitude of the Bavli. The Mizbeach, Machin Karbonas, we'll eat the raw meat. Never mind. The hidden mitzvah is nice, but it isn't like, so that's the attitude of the Bavli. Therefore, it makes sense when he got a bracha that he got the mokim of the Mizbeach, the Suloi.
But question, are they actually able to bring a korban outside of the Beit HaMikdash?
Not outside. The question here is, could you build the Mizbeach
Yeah,
and the walls, nothing is there? Like we'd go now.
but how is that possible?
What do you mean?
There's
We
no Beit
take-
HaMikdash.
We take that's our question.
Yeah.
We're gonna find exactly where's the mokum of the
You can
Mizbeach.
see if you
And we're gonna take rocks and build.
They can dig it. They can identify it by
There are people that think that
research.
they know. There are people that think they know.
Yeah.
Did research that people. Right.
You take a map.
Listen, I swift a little bit of the Harabite.
Oh, you
stones.
swifted. Nice.
Yeah, I did that. They did a swifting program. I told you.
Right.
It's amazing.
Wow. It's very small.
Yeah.
Big.
No,
But this
really-
is like
And right there,
that is only this piece.
Right there is the border between Binyamin
Right.
or Yehuda.
One thing Kavir has guts.
Yeah.
You got a guts.
And he has more guts. He made a share of Torah. He Mekom Kavua, not a religious program, but Shneur Ashkenaz, he made the first year and
Very nice. Very nice.
He
Very
pushed
nice.
it on them. He told you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
he pushed it on them.
Okay.
It's like, so he loves the.